Thanks for joining us on this video. My name is Pete English and I'm joined by Capel English. Today what we'd like to do is, for all intents and purposes, an unboxing of our dual mover target system. What we've decided to do is to show you for small agencies or small departments that have just a handful of targets, they very easily fit in a pickup truck, or most agencies have a trailer. So what we've done today is simply put 4 targets inside a pickup truck. We're going to unload them and explain what the package is. Hopefully this will be beneficial to you and give you an idea of how you might use a Plinker Dual Target system. So Capel, let's undo. Let's take the. Alrighty.
So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the compressor. So as you can see, this is just a small compressor you can buy at any home improvement store for $100. The requirements are very low. So this particular compressor is a 1.5 horsepower compressor and a 2.5 cubic feet per minute compressor. You can see it's got a knob here that we can adjust the pressure. Generally speaking, we're going to adjust the pressure to 80 psi or 80 pounds.
And so 80 psi that will run as many targets as we need?
As many targets as we need.
Whether it be 4 targets or 14 targets or 44 targets?
That's correct.
Is there any limitation on the number of targets that we can have in the circuit, or in the air circuit?
Not really. I mean,
so if we had multiple bays at a range, we could have one compressor for 5 or 6 or 7 bays.
Sure.
We'd only need one compressor.
Yeah, you might want to go with a little bit larger unit than this one, right. But otherwise it would be running all the time. Okay. So if when the compressor comes on, it's kind of noisy. So one of the things we recommend doing is just using a piece of this very inexpensive air hose. And what you'll notice is that all these compressors come with what's called an industrial air nipple. Okay, and you simply plug it in. And now we can get the compressor back toward where the power supply is. So it's
let me ask you a question. We also learned that in addition to an industrial connector like this one, there's also such thing as an automobile or automotive connector, and the nipple looks just a little different than this. So beware and be conscious that depending on the compressor you use, it may have an industrial connector or it may have an automotive connector. Just make sure you match it.
Almost all home improvement centers, the standard is going to be this one, so it shouldn't be that much to worry about. It does run on 120 volts, so you just need a power outlet. So between an extension cord and a piece of this hose, we can get the compressor back far enough away so the noise is, the instructor can, or the students can hear the instructor over the noise of the compressor. Now, once we have gotten the compressor hooked up, what we want to do is we want to switch over to this really small, it's 1/4 inch pneumatic hose. Looks just like ice maker hose that you might find in your kitchen hooked up to your refrigerator.
But it's better to use pneumatic hose than ice maker hose.
It is. It is. This is polyurethane hose. It stands up better. It's very easy to maintain, and in the event that it gets shot, you just cut it and put a little connector in there. It takes 30 seconds to repair it if it does get damaged. But what you want to do is, in order to get from this type of fitting, so whether or not we're using this hose or we're coming straight off the compressor, there's this is called push connect. So these little fittings, they come apart very easy. There's a black ring here, and you simply push the hose in, and so when I pull on it, I can't get it apart and it forms a good seal. But if I push on that ring and pull the hose, it comes out very easily. And so that's what we would want to do. Click it in.
In that scenario, we could use 500 feet of 1/4 inch hose as opposed to the big orange stuff.
That's correct. Okay. Sure.
What about your valve?
It's just a valve. This is just easy. I mean, again, you can buy these at any home improvement center for $6 or $8, and it's just a way to turn the air off. So it's just a 1/4 turn valve. You could just as simply disconnect it. So it gives you a way, a simple way to turn the air on and off if you want to move targets or adjust something.
And generally speaking, we would take something like this, move it down if we ever wanted to do some adjustments on the target and we wanted to turn the air off, then this connector or this valve would be closer downrange instead of walking all the way back to the compressor. Correct?
Correct. Okay, so that's about it for the compressor.
You want to set this aside and talk about the plates, or you want to talk about more about the plates?
Well, just to show you kind of what we have here, we have a bunch of, I think these are 10 or 12 foot lengths, so if the targets are very close together. And you can notice here there's a T connector on this. So when we're hooking all the air, all the targets up in series, so they're just T's that let us join them all together.
Except for the very last one. In the very last one, the hose goes directly into the target.
That's correct. And then, so this polyurethane hose. It is pneumatic hose. This is 25-foot pieces. So it just all depends on how far apart your targets are.
But if a customer wanted, they could get a 500-foot roll, right?
Absolutely. You can buy it. You can buy it for less than 20 cents a foot. So it's a very inexpensive hose, and it's very easy to repair if it gets damaged. Okay, so let's take a target system out. And we'll go over the target system in more detail, but you can see that we have the control box here. It's got an antenna on it, so it's wireless. There's a fitting here where the air hose connects into. Very simple, push connect. Just push it in and then push the black ring and pull it out to disconnect it. So it's very simple. This one happens to be set up, and it starts in the upright position and peaks out. And it only peaks out that far. And we'll get into more detail about that, but we can control the angle simply with these two brackets here. So you can see that they're very lightweight. These things weigh about 30, 35 pounds apiece, so one person can move them around easily. Now, one of the things that you do need to do is you need to protect the target system from bullet impacts. And so if we're talking about pistol caliber, then a 1/4-inch mild steel works very well. And so if we take this plate is about 23.5 inches, I believe is how wide it is. Excuse me, it's 23.5 inches tall and it's about 28 inches wide. So we've just welded the handle on here to make it easy. And if we turn it, and if we turn it around, we just bent some spikes over and welded them to the bottom of the plate so that it will stand up very easily, just like that.
And we have, you can certainly purchase these plates from us. The reality is, unless you live close to Atlanta, Georgia, the shipping cost to ship a plate like this is probably going to cost more than the plate does. So if you'd like to build your own, we'd be happy to give you plans on how to build your own. You could go down the street to whoever your fabricator is and build your own plates. They are available for sale, but if you'd like to build your own, have at it.
So if I take the plate and I set it in this channel, and it sits just like this. And so that a pistol caliber hitting this won't even dimple it. So you don't have to worry about that. If you are using these further down range, or you're shooting with rifles and high velocity ammunition, you will need to AR-500 steel, and depending on the caliber and the distance you're shooting at, the thickness could vary. So anywhere from 1/4 inch to 3/8 to 1/2 inch. So
but
obviously,
irrespective of the size of the steel that you're using, whether it's 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch steel, all of those will fit in the channel down here at the bottom, right?
That's correct, as long as you use the right dimensions. And I believe this bottom leg is 28 inches, so it has to be a little bit wider than that in order for it to stand up.
The correct way for this is to have the spikes in the front that will be probably in the dirt in most things.
Well, it also puts a slight angle, and I don't know if you can see that from the camera, but there's a slight forward angle, which means when the bullet impacts, then the majority of the spall is going to be directed down. So if somebody hits it and not the target, then it will be the spall, most of the spall will be deflected down.
But obviously, this is for protection. It's not a target itself.
That's correct. Okay.
What about, what's in the bag, the magic bag?
Okay, in the bag, what we have is a photoelectric eye. Okay, and so this photo eye is hooked up to a control box. Again, there's a radio inside this control box. It does not have an external antenna. This has an internal antenna. And there's a battery in there. And then this photo eye, when we set the photo eye up, we can adjust it here. And we've got more details in the user manual about how to adjust it, but it's very simple. It will work from about 12 inches out to 6 or 8 feet. So, we can set it up so that it's like a proximity sensor or a brake beam sensor.
Does it make any difference whether the person walks by this way or walks straight into it?
Not really, no. It doesn't make any difference. Generally, it's a lot easier to use it just as a brake beam. So if we were to set it down like this, then
obviously this is the
right. It has a very narrow beam focus of less than 5 degrees, so it's almost like a straight line coming out, so that when I step in front of it, it's going to trigger the target systems to start activating. Okay. So we call this a remote activator. We also have coming down the pipe, this is just a prototype, but a handheld remote activator as well. These aren't on the market yet, but we're working on it.
And we'll create a new video when that product does come on the market on how to use it, what are the best ideas for using that. So, is there anything else in the truck, Kate? What about targets? Oh, targets.
Okay.
Yep. So, as you can see from in the back bed of the pickup truck, we've put 4 target systems. We've put the spall plates. We've put a compressor, extension cords, and air hose, and everything fits. And this is a short bed truck. This is not a long bed truck. What we have done is we've taken the target systems that we've already stapled up, and we put them in the back seat, because if you've got an open air pickup truck going down the road at 70 miles an hour, these things may fly out. So we simply put them in the back seat. If you've got a trailer, put it in the trailer with everything else.
So what we've done here is we've just taken sort of a standard action pistol target, whether it's an IDPA target or a USPSA or an IPSC target or whatever, and stapled it to the board. Now, we're also using these paper printed high definition or color, very realistic targets. And one of the nice things about these targets is they have overlays that you can put on it. And this is not unique. There are a lot of target systems out there that use overlays. But you can see here, this guy has a bag in his hand. And here is the same guy with an AK in his hand. So when we set these up, the way that we set them up, and I'm just going to put a clip to keep the paper folded back. So we put the non-threat target in the front. Okay, and these thumb screws, we tighten the thumb screws down. And then we put the threat target in the back. Now, what this allows us to do is create a non-threat. So when both of these targets peek out, let's say that there's a wall here, okay, here, so you can't see any of the targets. They both peek out from behind the wall, and then using the software, we can say after a few seconds, this guy drops his bag and pulls out his AK. And so now he becomes a threat. And this gives you the opportunity to train your officers to identify the threat and then react to the threat. So, you know, maybe they're giving verbal instructions, drop the bag, show me your hands, and then when he decides to drop the bag and draw a gun, then the officer has to react by, you know, retreating, moving to cover, engaging the target in the process of doing that. But it gives a really unique way of forcing the officer to, you know, identify the threat, identify the target. In this case, the fact that the bad guy has a gun in his hands, and it's hard to tell, which is a very realistic scenario. So you can see that that makes it, gives us the ability to do a lot of really creative things when it comes to stage design and course scenario design.
So that's it for the unboxing. What we're going to do now is go and set up so that we can get a little closer to be able to show you the target system and some of the configurations on that. If this has been beneficial, then certainly on the link below, like this, share this, or subscribe to the channel. And the more people that we can get out there using these target systems, and obviously the more it's going to help, certainly on the law enforcement side. Obviously what we're trying to do is help law enforcement get their officers trained such that in today's world, shooting a facing target back and forth like that is not real training. So if we can get everyone prepared for shoot, non-shoot situations, then it's going to help everybody. Again, like us, share us, subscribe to the channel, and if there are other videos that you'd like to see, put it in a comment below. We like making these videos for you. The questions that people ask us really become the content of our videos. So we hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for spending the time with us, and we look forward to seeing you at the next video. Thanks.